Hello and welcome to another episode of the Anchor and Ascend podcast with me, your host, Angela Papa. So I am recording this episode 2 days after the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So today's date is May 17th, 2022. And this podcast had to come through. I was guided that I had to speak on this because I have been learning a lot of lessons in trust and in surrender this past week, especially the past couple days, because that's what eclipses do. Eclipses shake things up. Eclipses bring changes. Eclipses bring shifts. And in times like this that we find ourselves in, the best thing that we can do is trust and to surrender. So my previous podcast episode, I think it's podcast episode number 8. Yes, episode number 8, I talk all about eclipses, how to navigate eclipse season, how to best make use of the energy. So if you haven't listened to that one yet, I recommend you go listen to that one first. If you're like, what's an eclipse? What does that mean? How do I work with it? Definitely go give episode 8 a listen. But along with that episode, the message of trust and surrendering kept coming through, and it's really coming through for today's episode. And not just to use the energetics and the wisdom and the tools that I provide for you in this episode here today. This does not just apply for eclipse season. This applies for life. This applies for any day of any year. A lot of the beliefs and the universal truths that I have learned to know and truly believe with my whole heart and soul, and to embody and to live my life by, really, is what I'm going to be talking about today. And it all has to do with trusting the universe and trusting that you're always supported. So I'm going to start out today's episode with a little bit of a story time. Like I said, I have been living my life by the belief for years and years and years and years now that we are always supported by the universe, that we are always divinely guided, that all we have to do is trust the universe, trust that we're supported, and everything that we yearn for, everything that we desire will come to us. But it takes us first taking that leap of trust and surrendering to it and taking aligned action steps from there. But you need to trust in it. You need to trust that you're supported, right? So I have been living my life by this, knowing this universal truth for years now. But as every human does, sometimes in times of stress and turmoil, we like to throw these things out the window. Like, no, it can't be. I can't, right? So let me start my story. Long story short, I use MailChimp for my newsletter subscription service. And I've been using it for a few years now. And I noticed I had like 2,700 people that were subscribed to my email list. But on MailChimp, if you guys have never looked at MailChimp, you can kind of see the stats, like how many people open, the percentage of opens, percentage of clicks, what have you. So I noticed that with every newsletter or email that I send out, my percentages of opens were very low. And for MailChimp, when you have over 2,000 subscribers, you have to pay like a really hefty monthly fee just to have a MailChimp account. So it's been on my list for months, like, go through your MailChimp account. Like, there's a way that you can like sort through non-active subscribers and then like delete them. And then you can get, because there was definitely like, I had 2,700 people on my list, but there was definitely like probably like around 1,000 people that were like actually engaged. So I was just like cutting the fat, right? Just cutting the fat. I mean, I've had I had a lot of those email subscribers come over from another project a few years ago, so whatever. It wasn't really aligned with where I am now. So I'm like, let me cut the fat, stop paying this hefty fee every month, and then I can like get a higher percentage rate of opens, returns, and like have more engaged people on my mailing list. So PSA, if you're not on my mailing list, please go subscribe. But I'll talk about how you really need to subscribe again. So anyway, so this weekend I'm like, all right, I'm finally going to do it. Because it's like a whole process. You want to do it really slowly because you don't want to like delete people that you're not meaning to delete on the mailing list, right? So I'm going through, I'm like sorting by the non-active subscribers. You can like delete like up to 100 at once. So I'm like deleting all the people that, you know, weren't active on my list. And then I do like the last delete, and I was like, all right, great. Like, I think that's good enough. Let me like go back to my homepage and see how many is left. Like, I'm expecting around like 1,000 subscribers left. So it says like you have an audience of X amount of people. So I go back to my dashboard, and it says you have an audience of 0 contacts. I'm like, 0? What? So my heart drops. I go numb. I'm like, no. Also, it's Mercury retrograde right now. As an astrologer, I know better that you should back up things before you do it during Mercury retrograde. I should have made a backup on my list, but I didn't. I'm an Aries. I just like to go ahead and do the thing. So I'm like, all right, it's Mercury retrograde. The site's acting up. Let me just like close out the browser, go back in. Did it again. 0 subscribers. Like, at this point, I'm having a full-blown panic attack. I'm like, I can't believe I just deleted all of my subscribers on my MailChimp. Emailing MailChimp, they're like, once you delete it, it's permanently deleted. Hopefully you made a backup. She didn't make a backup, people. She did not make a backup. So I went from having an email list of 2,700, just trying to get it down to like 1,500, 1,000 of really engaged emails and people, to 0, to zilch, none. I don't have any now because I deleted them. So if you've been listening to my podcast or you've been following my work and you subscribe to my email list, please resubscribe using the link in the show notes. You'll receive a free breathwork practice. But you're not going to get my emails anymore if you subscribed prior to listening to this podcast. So go resubscribe in the link in the show notes. But that's not what it's not what this podcast's about, but I'm using this as a story. So anyway, back to the story. So all I keep hearing as my mind is racing a mile a minute, like I'm numb, like I'm so pissed off, I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just deleted my entire email list. Like, that's a big deal. It's a big deal when you're an online business to have a mail list and to just delete it all. You know, it's not something that I would definitely recommend to anybody. So all I kept hearing as my mind is racing, and I'm freaking out. Humans freaking out. My dog's looking at me like, what the hell's going on with her? Like, I'm having a freaking breakdown. But I kept hearing very softly, very faintly, trust. Trust. Just trust. Surrender to this moment. Just trust. Just trust that this had to happen. So now I'm talking to my spirit guys. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean I have to trust that this is supposed to happen? Delete over 2,000 people from my mailing list? See ya? Trust? Start from 0? Start from the ground up again? And I just kept hearing, you're divinely supported in this. Trust. Trust that this just happened. Lean on us, meaning spirit guides, universe. So then I'm like, all right, let me like sit down in front of my altar and let me like center myself, let me breathe, let me pray. And once I got into that more, you know, a little bit centered state from the full-blown panic attack that I was having, the message that came through was, trust that this was meant to happen and trust that this is the best thing that you could have happened. We understand that this is scary. We understand that you don't want to start back from 0, but trust Trust your path with this. Surrender to this moment and let go of control. Stop trying to grip. Like, I was messaging my friend because we had both had part of our mailing list come over from a previous project. I was like, do you still have that backup? I need it. And I kept hearing, no. Surrender to this. Surrender that this just happened. Allow your human to feel all the emotions that your human needs to feel right now, right? So process it, cry, scream, let it out like you're frustrated. But just surrender to this and trust the path that this is putting you on. So I'll be honest, I couldn't look at my MailChimp for a few days. Every time I looked at my MailChimp, I got sick to my stomach. I could not believe that I did that. I must have just like hit delete all. I don't know. I was so careful with it. It literally does not make sense that it deleted all my contacts. So that's even more. It's almost just like, A, Mercury retrograde, B, like that this was supposed to happen. Just trust and surrender to it. So this was my big lesson in trusting and surrendering that I've had this past week. And once it settled, once I was able to be like, okay, this is where I'm at now. This is where we're at. We're starting from zero. Start from the ground up. I had this intuitive knowing that came to me that I'm meant to rebuild up my subscribers from here, of people that are actually engaged in what I do, of people that are actually interested in what I do, and people that actually want to read these emails, because I was having a very low percentage rate because I had so many inactive subscribers. So rebuild from the ground up of quality, right? Of people that actually care about what you have to say, people that are excited about what you have to say, that people want to read your stuff, want to read about the astrology. And I kept hearing quality over quantity, surrender and trust, surrender and trust. So I did. And it feels like a big burden has been lifted off my shoulders once I fully allowed myself to just surrender into the moment that I found myself in, into the situation that I find myself in now, right? There was a part of me that wanted to grab and control and just get it back and do everything I can to get back, right back to where I was. There was times where I was kicking myself in the ass, like, you should have just left it and been paying the high fee every month. I went through all of the emotions during this, right? So it doesn't matter how spiritual you are and how many spiritual awakenings you went through or anything, like, the human still goes through its stuff, right? So all these things were happening. And I had to go through each one of those steps, emotions, states of awareness to finally get to where I am now in a state of surrender. And the state of surrender can be scary at first if we're not used to it. The state of surrender can feel like you're falling backwards and you don't know where the net is. You don't know if there's a net. You don't know if you're going to just fall right on the ground. But you have to trust that there's the net there. You have to trust that you are supported. And when you think about the falling backwards analogy, they say, like, when you are like skydiving or like even if, like, you know, people fall from high heights or something, your body just has to let go because if it tightens so much, that's like when you break. That's when your bones can break more, right? I know you're really supposed to. I've never been skydiving. No. I don't think that's in my path for my life. But you're really supposed to, your body needs to relax. So when you're surrendering, you can't be gripping and holding and trying to control and bracing yourself for impact. You can't be bracing yourself for impact. You need to let yourself relax. You need to let yourself let go. Because when you think about it energetically, When you're in a state of surrender, you're in a state of surrender because you're in a state of opening up to receive something new. In a state of opening up to receive support. In a state of opening up to receive guidance that hasn't been there before. And when our body tightens, nothing can come in. I mean, if you just look at someone that has that's sitting there with their back hunched, they're shielding themselves or shielding themselves for anything new to come in, right? So bringing it down even to the way our body language is and the way we are in our body and the way we feel in our body, you need to let go. You need to be in that state of surrender, in that state of opening for the support to come in, for the wisdom to come in, for the new things that want to enter your life to come in. You can't be closed off. You can't be white knuckle gripping, trying to control, trying to force. Because when we do that, when we try to control, when we try to force, when we're doing the white knuckling, we're sending a message to the universe by using our body language, our body, how we're feeling in our body, and using our beliefs, our thoughts, saying, I don't trust you. I don't trust that I'm supported. I don't trust that you're trying to bring good things into my life. I don't trust that there can be anything better on the other side of this, right? So for example, for my MailChimp thing, at first I was going through all of it. I was white knuckling. What's that message that I was sending to the universe? And they checked me real quick on this, spirit guide, they checked me real quick on this. You're saying that you don't trust us. You're saying that you don't trust that we're trying to usher in more aligned subscribers. We're trying to usher in a better email list. You're saying you don't trust us. So how can we help you if you don't trust us? How can we help you? How can we bring in what we're trying to bring into your life if you're not open to receiving our support? Right? And we had to do this. Something had to leave for the new to come in. We had to clear out the old energy, right? There was stagnant energy on my mailing list. I had literally 1,500 people probably that were just not opening, nothing, doing nothing, right? Just blank names, just I'm sending them an email and I don't even see it, right? That energy had to leave. It had to physically leave my inbox for the new energy, the more engaged energy, the more aligned energy to come in. So yes, if something's leaving your life right now and it scares the shit out of you, or if something is shifting in your life right now and it scares the shit out of you and your first reaction is to white knuckle, to force, to control, I feel you. I understand you. I really do. And just know that that is totally a human reaction. So have compassion for yourself first and foremost, that you're having that reaction initially, because it's very normal. But then take a step back and allow yourself to surrender. Allow yourself to think of all the possibilities that could be possibly entering your life now because XYZ just left, or XYZ is shifting into something else. Allow yourself to be curious about how it could be better. How it could be better than something you've never imagined. It could be better than something you never even thought of. Because what's coming into your life now wasn't even available, wasn't even an option while this thing over here was still in it. So we make the space for the new to come in. And when we go through something like this, where something leaves, something gets deleted, or something shifts, or something morphs into something else that we weren't really expecting, and it scares the shit out of us, and we're not happy about it at first, I invite you to take a step back and to surrender to where you are in the moment. Because you're not going to move forward, especially in a way that makes you happy, if you're trying to force and control. I mean, think of any time in your life where you were trying to force your way into something and you just kept getting roadblock and roadblock and roadblock. But you just forced, right? You didn't give a shit. You were forcing. I did it a million times. And sometimes I would get to where I wanted to be, but once I was there, I wasn't happy with it, or it wasn't what I thought it was. And I did all that forcing. I expended all of that energy in trying to force control for really nothing at the end of the day. Because I ended up being where I wasn't supposed to be. Anytime you have to force or control something in your life, that's a sign from the universe that this is not an alignment. Across the board. And I'm going to say it again. Anytime that you try to control or force something in your life, and it's like there's block after block after block, and you just feel like you can't really move forward, it's not in alignment. So you need to take a step back and surrender to the fact that whatever it is you're trying to do isn't going to work in the way that you're doing it. Okay? And when you allow yourself to enter that state of surrender, you allow your body to open to receive. You trust that you are supported, even in times where your human mind can't wrap your head around it. That's when the magic happens. That's when everything that you really want and that's really in alignment with where you're going can come in. So you need to trust. Because when you're white knuckling and you're trying to force and you're trying to control, the only way that you can get to the state of surrender is if you trust. Because just like the body, again, if the body doesn't feel safe, it can't open, right? And what does it take to feel safe? You need to trust where you're at. You need to trust you're safe. You need to trust your surroundings, right? So like, for instance, if you're in like a random home and you're getting a bad vibe and you don't really feel safe, your body automatically clenches and closes. But when you're in your home and you feel safe and sound and you're relaxed, your body relaxes. Your body is able to open. You are entering the state of surrender. You have your feet propped up on your couch and you're just living life. It's not how you feel. It's nowhere that you don't feel safe, right? So when we're in a situation where we're trying to control, where we're trying to, oh, this went the wrong way, and I'm really trying to control it to go back another way, and it's just not happening, and I'm getting really angry. The way that we can enter the state of surrender is by trusting. Because when you trust, you are sending signals from your brain to your body that you are safe, that you are supported. And when your body feels safe and supported, it can open. And when your body is open to receive, your heart open to receive, that's when what's really meant for you can come in. That's when that thing that you were trying to do that wasn't happening and you were trying to control it, there was something else behind it, but you couldn't see it. It wasn't even, you couldn't even think that that was a possibility. Then you trust, you surrender, and then it comes out from nowhere. You're like, whoa, that's so cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a possible. And it's entering your life, and it's so much greater than the thing you were trying to control or force anyway. If you don't have trust that you're always supported, how can the universe show you otherwise? You are so loved and so supported by the universe. Each one of us creates our own reality. And what creates our own reality is our thoughts and our beliefs. Not what we want, not what we want our life to look like, not what we want to believe, but what we currently believe. The current beliefs that we embody day to day to day, the current beliefs that we live our life by day to day, the current thoughts that are running through our mind. Okay? That's what creates our reality. And you are so loved by the universe, by God, by Goddess, by all that is, whatever you want to call that higher power, that higher force, right? You are so loved by that higher force that whatever you believe to be true is going to happen. So if you can't trust that you are always supported, if you tell yourself things need to be hard, I need to work really hard to get things, that's what life is going to show you. That is what the universe is going to present back to you. You hold a belief, you hold a thought pattern, and then it's like you project that out onto the screen of your reality, and your reality reflects it right back to you. So if you can't allow yourself to trust that you're always supported, even in times where you don't understand how this can be good for you, even in times where it's really, really, really hard to trust that you're supported, if you can't let yourself do that, the universe can't show you how it can support you. Because the universe is just going to mimic that belief right back to you. Oh, you're not supported by the universe? Oh, better things aren't on the other side of this for you? Oh, that thing that you just came out of your life was the best thing that was ever going to happen to you. Now your life's going to be shit because it left. Oh, okay. If that's what you want, if that's okay. That's the reality they chose. That's the reality they chose. Let's reflect it back to them. Hey, we don't make the rules. We just follow them. If that's the reality you want. Okay, here you go. Like, that's literally how this universe works. Literally. You need to take the first step of the trusting. Sit there and say, okay, universe. Take a deep breath. Okay, universe, I'm going to try this trusting thing. I trust that I'm supported. Can you show me ways that I'm supported? Open up to that. Have fun with it. There's no rules on how this thing works. And then see what happens. See what happens. Maybe you'll get like a random like $10 refund in your bank account or something, or like a random Venmo, or I don't know. Maybe you find like $20 on the ground while you're going grocery shopping. I don't know. Or maybe like a bird will fly into your window and just catch your attention. And then you look up what that bird means. And the bird's like, divine support, divine guidance, trust the universe. I don't know. You have to be curious in the ways that you can start to get this proof. So I'm sensing that people that have a hard time with this whole thing, they need proof. And I get it. As humans, we want proof that something's going to work before we start doing it. So ask for the proof. Ask for the signs. It'll be given to you. After that happened, that whole MailChimp thing, the whole email subscriber thing, I was going through it. I was praying. I'm like, all right, I trust that I'm supported, but can you give me a goddamn sign? Can you give me a sign that this was what was in alignment? Deleting everything? About 5 minutes later, I look at my phone, it was like a random, like, no, I think it was like 1133 or something, I forget. I Google 1133. I think it was 1133, I'm not sure. But it was basically, the message was something about like how you trust that your hopes and aspirations for the future are going to come true. And my whole intention with the whole MailChimp thing was to build a more engaged email list. Message received. Okay, I can trust, I can surrender to this. So, especially in times of change, especially when you're going through shifts, trusting is what is going to get you through. No white knuckling, no forcing. Allow your body to express, to release. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to scream if it's really frustrating, right? Don't hold those emotions in. Let them all out, right? Allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. But then trust that whatever is leaving your life had to leave for something new and better to come in. Trust that you're supported by the universe. Because the more that you do this, the more that you trust, the more that you really embody the belief that, hey, I'm always supported. Always supported. I really embody this belief. Forget it sometimes, that's for sure. Definitely had a freak out with the MailChimp, but I really do embody this belief. And I am shown time and time again that it's true. Because my life reflects that back to me. My life informs that right back to me. And this goes with literally any belief, right? Any belief. Your life is going to reflect that back to you. But right now we're talking about trusting that you're always supported. And it's coming through really strong right now because of the eclipse energy that we're in. Because things are moving at a rapid rate. So try this belief on for a size. Try this whole trusting the universe thing on for a size. Try this whole I'm always supported and divinely guided thing on for a size and see how it feels. And if you're having resistance to it, that means you're really meant to try it on. What we resist persists. And anytime we have resistance towards something, when it feels a little sticky, when it feels like a stretch, it's stretching you in to your next level of personal growth. It's stretching you into your next level of your life, right? If you think of life like a video game, go from level to level to level to level to level. It's not like you leave level 1 and get to level 3 and it's all sunshine and unicorns. In these video games, right? You gotta go through hell and back. You gotta I don't know. I don't play video games. Maybe fight dragons or some shit. I don't know. But you gotta win some battles, right? I don't know. It's the same thing in life. In order to get from one level to the next level in your life, sometimes things need to leave our lives. Sometimes we might have to go through a quote-unquote crisis. Some hard shit might happen to us. But those things had to happen for the lessons to come through from it. You always learn something after you go through something shitty, right? It's not like you go through something shitty and you're like, oh, I'm the same person now. No, there's always something that changed within you. A lesson, a belief, something, right? So maybe for you to get to your next level in your life right now, it's this trusting that you're always supported thing. And allowing yourself to free fall into that. Free fall into the surrendering state. And knowing that you will be caught. Knowing that there is a net to catch you. And trusting that there is. So if there's something that you want in your life, there's somewhere you're trying to go, you really deeply desire, trust that you're supported in it, and take aligned action steps as well. And your body will be able to tell you if it's aligned or not. There's an episode on desire, though. I think episode 2. Listen to the episode 2 of this podcast if you want to learn about how to become an energetic match to your desires. I go really deep into that. I feel like someone needed to hear that. So let me know what you thought of this episode. And if you could do me a favor and resubscribe to my mailing list using the link below, and you get a free breathwork practice when you do it, I would greatly appreciate it. And that'll be supporting me in me trusting that I'm supported by the universe as well. Because this message had to come through. Spirit was like, you need to do this episode right now. I'm like, okay, I got it. So I hope that you got something out of this. And let me know how it feels. Let me know what signs come and show their way to you when you start trusting that you're supported. And, reality can get crazy sometimes. And we really start to connect with the universe. We start to connect with spirit. Signs come in all kinds of ways to reaffirm that we're supported, to reaffirm that we're on the right path. And sometimes you feel like you're living in a movie. With the numbers and the animals and the things flying at you, right? But it's that's awesome that life can be this magical. So why wouldn't we want to live in a magical reality? Because you choose your reality. So why wouldn't you join us in this magical one where you're so supported at all times and so divinely guided? And everything is happening for you, not to you. That's a big one. Everything is happening for you, not to you. Write that down. Really inhabit that belief. Because it takes you out of the victim mindset as well. Right? And when we try to control things, we're in that victim mindset. And the victim mindset doesn't get you anywhere. It just keeps you stuck. So take your power back. It's funny, we take our power back by changing our mindset, by knowing that we're always supported, that everything's happening for us, not to us, and surrendering to that knowing, and surrendering that we're always supported, and trusting that we are. You don't take your power back by forcing. Society got that shit wrong. You take your power back by receiving and trusting and surrendering. That's true strength. That's true power. So I think that was the last message that wanted to come through. I just wanted to make sure it was all done, but I think that was it. And if you haven't signed up for my newsletter yet, definitely do, because you do receive a free breathwork practice on there. And that breathwork also helps you to open up, to feel safe in your body, open up to receive, opening up to surrender. So that would be a great practice for you to do to help you along with everything that I talked about today in today's episode. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hoped that you really loved it. And I have a masterclass coming up on May 31st all about your midheaven / your MC in astrology. So it is called Decoding Your Career Success. Oh my gosh. Decoding Your Career Success. And I'm going to teach you all about the midheaven, what it means, and basically the midheaven is like your career point. So it points to how you can have your most successful career in alignment and in flow and not in force. And I'm going to go through that and how you can find that out and what it means for you and all the good things. So if you are curious about how you can be your most magnetic, successful self in your career, or if your current career is right for you, if you're thinking of switching careers, highly recommend that you join us on this masterclass. I will have the information below to sign up. And yeah, hope to see you there. So I'm sending you all so much love, and I hope you have a nice day, evening, morning, whatever time of day you find yourselves in. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the next episode of the Anchor and Ascend podcast. Bye.